Alright everyone, so let's start off today's charting session with PLDT or TEL, no? Now itong TEL, essentially we have been trading within this wider range for quite some time now. Okay? Nakuha siya nung unang leg up dito, di ba? Nag-conso tayo dito, we broke to the upside, nag-conso ulit, bumalik. Essentially, binuo natin tong range na to, yung nabuo from this leg. We tried to push higher, we succeeded, pero sandali lang, going above this range high. Tapos we push lower, came back, tested the same range high, then push lower again. Now, based off of that, ang masasabi natin na yes, it is trading sideways, but in a wide-ish range, meaning it's a range that should be very tradable assuming that you are a range trader. Okay? Pero syempre, kung hindi po ito pasok sa sistema nyo, wag po nating ipipilit. If you zoom out in the grand scheme of things, after this long sideways movement here with slight overshoot to the downside, we did push higher na, and where we are currently is kung saan tayo nagkaroon ng chop before, there and there. Okay? Now, from here, ano yung mga potential scenarios na pwede natin tignan sa TEL? As always, kapag ganitong malawak yung range, we tend to segment it para lang mas madali, di ba? Mas madali siyang basahin, mas madaling ma-map out. So, if we can come back and retake tong 1,810 na area, kasi di ba we tried to close above it in this candle here, hindi kinaya, we gap down and stayed down. If we can push back up above tong 1,810, then that opens up this range here from 1,810 hanggang 1,885. And if 1,885 gets taken out, it opens up the wider range above from 1,885 hanggang 2,002. Etong previous attempt to push higher na bitin lang ng konti. Pero dun pa rin siya papunta, di ba? So we're not gonna be bullish upon the break of yung high nito, knowing na may resistance na naghihintay dito at 2,002. Okay? Now, ang bearish scenario naman nito is if from here we come back and take out 1,670, it opens up this range beneath from 1,585 hanggang 1,670 with potential overshoots hanggang 1,545. Pero where we are now, assuming mas-stuck lang tayo dyan, then it's looking like we might be stuck within this range here between 1,670 hanggang 1,810. Possible na mag-form tayo ng inverse head and shoulders dito, 'di ba? Completing the pattern, making this range tradable. However, as I always remind you na kapag may nagpo-form na bullish or bearish pattern within a larger range, for me, ako lang naman to, personal belief ko lang, I don't believe it to be as effective. So you just want to consider those patterns with a grain of salt para hindi tayo nag-over-expect, 'di ba? Tempered yung expectations natin going in, hindi natin pipilitin yung gusto natin, and we'll just take what we can from the market, assuming that you want to trade this range. Next, let's take a look at ACEX, no? Now, tong ACEX, di ba, ang napag-usapan natin before was essentially nag-form siya ng inverse head and shoulders dito, pushed higher. Nauntog tayo dito sa resistance area na to where there was a cluster of highs before, and if you look to the left, inflection point siya, meaning it has acted as support and resistance, resistance, support, resistance, etc. along the way. So hindi naagulat na dyan na naman tayo nakahanap na reaction. Now, if you're looking to buy the pullback dito in the hopes na magpapatuloy yung reversal niya, meaning pullback lang to, then the expectation is we go higher from there, then I think the earliest area that we can watch out for is this purple zone here. Siya yung quote-unquote neckline, and at the same time, siya rin yung previous area of highs na hindi pa nababalikan ng price prior to breaking out in that candle there. Okay? So if we pull back into this purple zone, tapos magbigay siya ng some type of bullish structure, it could be a signal telling us na, uy, baka may chance na tumuloy tong reversal na to. Meaning, baka from here, we push higher, ma-fill natin yung gap na hindi napuno before, or mabalikan natin tong inflection point na to dito, around 24 pesos, more or less. Kasi kung pupunahin natin, again, it acted as resistance, support, diba? Resistance here, and so on. So, kung mabasag natin yung 17.48, I do think na yung next natural magnet will be itong gap na to. Pero kung na-fill yan and tumuloy, then dito na nga, yung around 24 pesos. Pero kung kunwari from here, nabasag niya tong purple zone, nag-test underneath, hold, roll over, then meron tayong mga iba pang potential scenarios. Let me zoom in, no? First, baka mag-range muna tayo in this tight area between 12.6 hanggang 14.8. Whether or not that's a viable area depends solely on you, no? Kung paano kayo mag-trade or kung rin-range trade nyo ba, gusto nyo ba, ayaw nyo ba, and so on. Now, the other thing is, baka hindi mag-hold yung 12.6 altogether. Kapag nabasag yan, odds are we'll take out yung low ng right shoulder. And as we all know, that's an invalidation ng overall pattern. And we might see price return to this area of support between 7.64 hanggang 8.4. Now, kung bumalik yung price all the way there, what could happen is we might range muna between this area ng mga 8.4 hanggang 12.6, which is again, a very tradable range, but it remains to be seen if a trade will actually present itself kung sakali mang bumaba tayo all the way there. But what I do know is kung umabot tayo, nabalikan natin tong 8.4, 7.6, what have you, then the quote-unquote reversal is over, at least for the short term. Ang best case scenario kung bumalik tayo all the way dito is for potential range trades na lang. And how wide you want to trade it, how high your targets will be, will purely depend on how bullish you are in particular dito sa ACEX. Next, silipin natin tong BPI, no? Now, tong BPI, overall, okay, again, in the bigger picture, we are caught in all of this chop from before. And even if you look at it from a wider perspective, we can say na itong buong area na to was a range. This was your overshoot. So we could be trading anywhere from 87 hanggang 98 pesos. Again, a very, very wide range. Pero we can see naman na ito overshoot, to overshoot. Very short-lived yung pagbaba doon ng price, as well as very short-lived yung pag-angat dito ng price. And where price has more or less resided or found equilibrium in is within itong 87 to 98 na area. Okay? Now, all that being said, as always, since it's a huge area, sinesegment natin siya. Now, from here, the current range that we're trading at is between 92 pesos hanggang itong 98 or 98.85. If we close beneath 92, mag-open up tong range na to between 89.5 hanggang 92. And if 89.5 gets taken out, then baka bumalik tayo sa 87 for support, or if that breaks, even all the way to 84. However, again, in the grand scheme of things, for now, okay, at least sa medium term, we are moving sideways. So you want to take that into consideration. Okay? Hindi nagpupumilit tayo na hindi, uptrend na to, kailangan umabot ito ng 500 pesos or what have you. Kasi syempre, even if you zoom out, kita naman di ba? We are moving sideways currently, as is the index, as we discussed dun sa PSEI market overview video natin. Okay? So, again, if you want to trade BPI, personally, I would look for range trades, especially within the segments that's outlined here sa chart. You can take a screenshot of it. But I wouldn't force any long-term trades just yet unless price comes down to an area that you personally find attractive for one reason or another. It could be a technical reason, it could be a fundamental reason. Basta meron kang magandang dahilan bakit mo siya gustong bilhin at a certain area, at a certain level, outside of, kasi parang feeling ko tataas na. Okay? So, other than that, there's not much else left to say dito sa BPI. Next, tignan natin tong DMC, no? Now, for DMC, it's always best that we start out na medyo naka-zoom palabas para lang makita natin na patuloy pa rin yung uptrend niya. So, let's just get that out of the way para kung may masabi man ako na ayaw marinig ng ibang very bullish ng DMC, hindi ko bina-violate yung overall na bigger picture. Okay? Now, let me zoom in a bit and we can discuss about structure from a more zoomed in standpoint. Now, obviously, nag-breakout tayo, nag-form tayo ng bagong 52-week high. Okay? Tas after natin gawin yon, nag-pull back tayo, bumalik tayo dito sa 9.80 something level that we broke out from. Diba? Ito yung previous 52-week high. Binasag natin yan, we pushed higher. So ngayon, hindi naagulat na nakahanap tayo ng support sa level na yan. Now, ano yung mga ayaw kong makita dito sa DMC? First, kung mabasag altogether itong 9.85, 9.86 na area, then ang unang papasok sa isip ko is baka mag-form na tayo ng head and shoulders pattern dito. At kung mag-form man yon, I am not saying na babaksak siya from there. I am just saying na baka mag-form siya, and if from that particular pattern, maraming nagpanic, maraming magbenta, then of course, makikita natin price will push lower. Siyempre, kung kunwari ma-invalidate yung pattern na yan, then that's good. Then that means price will push higher, di ba? Now, yun yung one possible scenario. Pero ang pinakaayaw ko sanang makita is for price to pull all the way back, break beneath 9 pesos, and then mag-hold na tayo beneath that, or even beneath 9.3. Kung mangyari yon, for me, it's gonna look very bearish. Yes, I understand na it's still within this sideways range here. Yes, this could be an overshoot. Yes, we could trade within this range. All that is fine. Okay? All of that is 100% fine. But we do need to recognize na kung nangyari yon, it's gonna look a lot more bearish, and the range that we will likely be trading in won't be hanggang dito na. Baka yung range na matrade natin will be here na lang from 8.32 hanggang 9.33 or from 8.32 hanggang 8.97. Now, I realize ang dami kong caveats na sinabi. Kasi para mangyari yung sinabi ko, marami pang kailangan maganap eh. It's not gonna happen in the next few candles. It's highly unlikely it does. And if it does, let's say within the next 2 or 3 candles, biglang tumuloy-tuloy ito, bumasag pababa, you won't need me to tell you na it's looking bearish. It's just gonna look bearish to everyone, period. Diba? So, for now, yes, tuloy yung uptrend niya, kita naman natin. If you want to buy on dips, pasok siya sa system nyo, then by all means, go ahead, no? Pero again, for me, yun yung ayaw kong makita. Ang gusto kong makita from here is mag-hold tayo around this area here between mga 9.7 hanggang itong 9.80 something. See if from there we can push above 10.38. If mangyari yon, then the next level of resistance will be at 10.74. And if that breaks, we'll discuss DMC again. But for now, let's see what happens moving forward. Kung tutuloy ba to, magpo-pullback, at kung mag-pullback man, hanggang saan at kung ano yung magiging itsura. And then finally, let's talk about RLC. Now, tong RLC, we discussed this nung index overview natin, di ba? Where we went through all the index names. And as we can see, it's still more or less trapped within tong leg down na to. Di ba? We have been trading within this sideways range again. As with the theme nung lahat ng tinignan natin today, it's a very wide range, no? That's why we segment it. Now, nagkaroon tayo ng strong up move after we broke above tong 17.9 na area. In fact, nag-iwan tayo ng gap dito. Diba? Pero, nauntog pa rin tayo dito sa level of resistance natin, close to 20 pesos. Okay, so ano yung mga pwede natin i-expect dito sa RLC? If yung bullish scenario, we break above 20 pesos, then the next level of resistance will be around 20.9. Kung mabasag pa yan, then we might come back and revisit tong highs na naiwan dito from before. Okay? But as always, I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself. Next level lang muna tayo. Now, what we don't want to see is for price to come back down, take out tong 18.7, and either mag-pull back, hold, then bumaksak lalo, or tumuloy lang. Kasi kung ganon, baka mangyari is i-fill natin tong gap na naiwan dito. Kung bumalik yan dito, nag-fill ng gap, merong multiple na pwede natin tignan. Kung nag-fill yung gap, nag-react agad, then perhaps a bounce play can be had. Again, where that target will be remains to be seen. Kasi syempre, wala pa naman yung structure. Okay? Next, pagka bumaksak yan dito, tas tumuloy lang, parang hindi pinansin, then I think price might come back down to tag this low na naiwan dito at 16.9. And if that doesn't hold, then we might come back and revisit support at 16.24. After all, may naiwan tayong double bottom dito from earlier this year. Diba? Now, kung kunwari naman, nag-pullback, bumaksak, nag-pullback, nag-hold, bumaba, nag-hold, baka mag-range lang tayo between 17.9 hanggang 18.7 muna pang samantala. And then kapag ganon, we don't really have a choice other than to wait the market out and see what it wants to do. If you want to range trade that, that's fine, that's on you. As long as pasok siya sa kung anumang parameters na ginagamit nyo, then that's all well and good, no? Pero don't just focus na, kasi mukhang tataas na eh. Bago natin isipin yung tataas or kung saan siya pupunta or ano yung pwedeng target, isipin muna natin saan ba tayo magkakamali? Kaya ba natin tanggapin yon? More often than not, we're blinded by the potential gains. Whereas, ang tama naman talaga, dapat nagpo-focus tayo sa potential losses. Kasi yun yung nasa control natin eh. Pagka nag-positive naman ng isang trade, pagka nag-workout ng mabuti ang isang trade, madali lang i-manage yun eh. Diba? So let's focus on the things na pwede nating mas ayusin pa rather on the things na madali na. So guys, dito po nagtatapos yung video natin, no? I hope nakatulong po to sa inyo kahit konti and may natutunan kayo kahit papano. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you give this video a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And as always guys, maraming salamat po sa panonood. I really appreciate it. Good luck and happy trading!